All right, it is another big week. How do you know? Because it's time for ACIM Talks with Reverend Jim. So, you made it through all the trials and tribulations and hopefully happy moments from another week. I'm so glad everyone could be here. Uh, I haven't heard from Ron, but maybe he'll still join us. And we are on our alternate track tonight. We're back to our Oracle text reading in A Course in Miracles. And we're just getting into the thick of chapter 14 called Teaching for Truth. And the last time we were on this, we were in a section, Romans 3. May as well get our books out on page 274. We were on Romans 3 called The Decision for Guiltlessness. Oh, there's Ron. Let's let him in. Yeah. So let's give him a chance to get in here. All right, we got a check mark. So now he does something at the right top of his screen that magically brings his face into the picture. Ron, can you hear us? Brother
Guess
Ron?
not.
Hello?
He's got a mute on his thing here.
No, and
We can't
I've
change it,
asked
can
him
we?
to unmute, but there's something he needs to do on his end as well.
Mm.
Because every week he says he does something extra at the top and then the face comes in.
Turns
And
his video on.
yeah, well, let me just this will take care of itself soon, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we were in this section on guiltlessness, section Roman 3. And here's a good thing to do. What does Jesus say about guiltlessness in the decision for guiltlessness? What do you remember he said so far about guiltlessness?
Don't be guilty. Don't feel
Right.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Excellent. Why?
There's nothing to be guilty about.
Guilty
The
about.
Son of Man is innocent.
Okay.
I am as God created me, perfect.
All right.
Whole,
So if that's true,
Is the Son of Man innocent or the Son of God innocent?
Son
they're
of
all
Man, Son
one.
of God, right? Either synonymous.
Redeemed Son of Man is the Son of God.
Okay.
They walk together on two different levels simultaneously. However, many that walk on two levels don't know they're from two levels. How am I doing, D?
Maybe start
Good.
over.
Hey, I knew your wife
There
would
you are.
come save you again.
How did you do that?
I'm a genius. That's how I did it.
I know. Well, listen, Ron.
I'm smart.
Yes.
It's so good.
Thank
However,
you.
Ron's smart too because he picked you. So there you go.
That's right.
All works out. Thank you for being here, sir. We're on
Thank you
page.
for letting me in.
Yeah, we're going to start. We're in the Course in Miracles book on 277 is where we're starting. But Dee was asking if the Son of Man, about a distinction between guiltlessness as a Son of Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is the Son of God guiltless or the Son of Man? And I was just saying, ultimately, there is no Son of Man.
No.
Son of Man is a manifestation that goes along with the tiny mad idea.
Correct.
It
Yeah.
is a misconception of the Son of God using his free will to try and be something that he's not.
True.
And then I said, how am I doing, D? And then Ron came in. We all right?
Yep.
Okay. So don't be guilty about anything. And the reason is simply because it's not true. That's what's been said about it, in essence, to me so far. Do you have any other comments? Okay, we together, same page here?
Yeah.
All right, let's get our reading list going. I have Sherilyn number 1, Kathleen 2, Joan 3, D is 4, Laverne is 5, Ron is 6. How's that?
Sounds good.
So we had left off, well, we start tonight on 277, paragraph 15. And we're
Okay.
ready for Sherilyn.
All right. Seek not to appraise the worth of God's Son, whom he created holy, for to do so is to evaluate his Father and judge against him. And you will feel guilty for this imagined crime, which no one in this world or heaven could possibly commit. The Holy Spirit teaches only that the sin of self-replacement on the throne of God is not a source of guilt. What cannot happen can have no effects to fear. Be quiet in your faith in him who loves you and would lead you out of insanity. Madness may be your choice, but not your reality. Never forget the love of God, who has remembered you, for it is quite impossible that he could ever let his Son drop from the loving mind wherein he was created and where his abode was fixed in perfect peace forever.
So can we put this into a few words before we read the next paragraph?
God is not a source of guilt.
Um,
The
We
Holy
can't
Spirit.
change what we are.
well, he's saying to Ron, seek not to appraise the worth of God's Son. Who's God's Son?
Me,
The
you,
sonship,
else.
everyone.
All right. Seek not to appraise the worth of everyone who God created holy, for to do so is an implication on the Father that he don't know what he's doing. Yes?
Yep.
And then it goes on to say, here, let me start here at 3. The Holy Spirit teaches only that the quote unquote sin of self replacement on the throne of God, it's not a source of guilt because it can't happen. You cannot replace yourself on the throne of God and make yourself the judge instead of the judge. As a matter of fact, judgment in light of perfection is ridiculous. If everything's perfect, what do you have to do? Enjoy it?
Not judge, that's for sure.
Say that again, Ron. Say it again.
Not judge. There's nothing to judge.
There's no need for judgment. Just to think there is a curse against God. I'm telling the author of perfection that he's not. That's what I'm doing. That's the implication. That all is not well, that everything's perfect, that there's nothing to fear, that you're forgetting that everything's all right. That's fear, forgetting everything's all right. I used to say that one. So these are legitimate reasons for you not to be guilty, and that you're just adding to your unnecessary suffering. So instead of moving forward, you got this drag on you that you still think has a purpose. He's saying, let's expedite graduation here. And one of the principles is never feel guilty, because guilt can only be an illusion, in that, as he says at the top of page 278, sentence 6, madness may be your choice, but not your reality. Never forget the love of God, and I'm going to skip to 8, for it is quite impossible that he could ever let his son drop from the loving mind wherein he was created. The impossible cannot happen. Why?
Impossible.
Thank you. Because it's impossible. So here you are suffering because of what cannot happen. Why would you do that? Well, you wouldn't, but your ego would. Or rather, your ego would have you to, as a diversionary tactic from your awakening, which would totally dissolve the ego. Am I connecting these dots okay? There's a through line in A Course in Miracles. He stated it on the first page.
There's a what line?
A through line.
A through
There's
line.
a theme that goes through all A Course in Miracles.
Huh.
And if you always integrate every discussion into that through line, here's the through line, okay? What is real cannot be threatened. What is unreal
Does not exist.
does not exist. If you match everything we talk about to that through line, it'll tell you why. The impossible cannot happen, because nothing real can be threatened, and nothing unreal, no matter how hard your ego wants to make it so, cannot be right. So you got to quit listening to the ego. I mean, I don't know any other way. Do you?
Mhm.
So that's just my take on 15, your comments, or is that, what do you think?
I have a question about sentence 5. It says, "Be quiet in your faith in Him." Why is that? Him with the capital H, meaning
Yeah,
God.
great, great,
Mhm,
great, great, great.
mhm.
Who's him?
Well, it's again God. It has a capital
Well,
H.
well,
Mhm.
I know, but try Holy Spirit and see
Okay.
how that goes.
Okay. Okay.
Nope, that's a little better.
I just want to know what. Be quiet. Why? Why to be quiet? Be quiet in your faith.
Her faith.
Stop debating. Be quiet. I will
Mhm.
step back and let him lead the way. Seriously, I
Okay.
won't interfere.
I
I
think in
won't.
quiet,
Go ahead, dear.
I think in quietness is the only way we could receive the holy instant.
Yeah,
Mm.
it
And
just
in the
becomes a block.
silence. Okay. Mhm.
Okay, so all of
Mhm.
these wild notions, uh, debate, contestability, let me think about it, keeps you from actually doing it. The proof is in the pudding, not in the wishing. Either do or do not.
Here's Yoda again.
That's the that's why Yoda's one of my favorite spiritual teachers. Yours? Or you thought he was
Mhm.
just a little funny dude?
Both.
Yeah. But do you see the metaphor there? Here's something
Mhm.
that didn't look like what you expected a wise being to look like. It's paradoxical, isn't it?
Yes.
That scene is 180 degrees from what you've been doing. You've been judging, not seeing. Let's go to Kathleen. We're up to 16. Oh, wait, hold on, Kathleen. You're unmuted, I think.
Yeah.
Say to the Holy Spirit only, decide for me, and it is done. For his decisions are reflections of what God knows about you. And in this light, error of any kind becomes impossible. Why would you struggle so frantically to anticipate all you cannot know, when all knowledge lies behind every decision the Holy Spirit makes for you? Learn of his wisdom and his love, and teach his answer to everyone who struggles in the dark, for you decide for them and for yourself.
Mm.
You're on mute, Jim.
I was asking about sentence 6. For you decide for them and for yourself. Do you see where I am?
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why do you decide for them and for yourself?
Because we're one.
What's another through line for this course?
There are no exceptions.
Well, let me maybe more apropos, because we're one. We're not
Mm-hmm.
separate. Everything I do, think, influences my brother and sister, and vice versa. See, do you see that whole? You got to take that whole idea, and then this stuff makes sense. If you always remember some very fundamental things they will give you the answers to a lot of the questions, you see. Okay. Anything else on 16? All right. Joan?
Paragraph 17. How gracious it is to decide all things through him whose equal love is given equally to all alike. He leaves you no one outside you, and so he gives you what is yours, because your Father would have you share it with him. In everything be led by him, and do not reconsider. Trust him to answer quickly, surely, and with love for everyone who will be touched in any way by the decision, and everyone will be. Would you take unto yourself the sole responsibility for deciding what can bring only good to everyone? Would you know this?
Your comments on 17?
I don't think we have the ability to decide what would be good for everyone or ourselves for that matter.
So are you responding to the question in sentence 7? Would you take unto yourself your sole responsibility? That sentence? You see where
Yeah. Yes.
that what you're answering, right? Yeah.
Yes. We can't be responsible for other people. We call on the Holy Spirit to help us. So we don't do it alone.
We cannot decide, right? We cannot decide. Let's debate that a little bit, Ron. And you answered that, but we can't decide because we're impaired by separation. How can you have all knowledge when things are separated? You can't. You can't. But remember the two voices in your head? That one is not that other voice that we're talking about is not separated. So it can see clearly. It can make good decisions because of its view. Can you? No. But remember, D, we're talking about you, the Son of Man. The Son of Man is a result of the separation. However, you, as Ron was saying, you cannot be separate because God put himself in there too. Remember the two voices. So one of the voices is not separate. Remember we said your higher voice. Do you have a higher voice for you alone? Is the higher voice an individual?
No.
No.
That's why it can see clearly and make decisions that are good for all. You, as the separated Son of Man, lost that capacity because separation is a block to seeing the whole picture. So they're pretty common sense reasons for what's being said here. And
but I can do good for everyone if I let that light that is inside of me, coming from spirit, shine on you.
So it won't be you, the Son of Man, doing it.
I know I said
I
spirit.
surrender to the Son of
Mhm.
God in me,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
other voice.
Mhm. Mhm.
How about the rest of you?
Yeah.
Okay. I did too want to, just for clarification, uh, paragraph 17, how gracious it is. What does gracious mean?
Thankful.
Okay, thankful. Other definitions or
Humble.
Right. That's what I was
humble?
going to
Generous.
say. Humble. Mhm.
Okay,
Generous.
kind, pleasant.
Mhm. Mhm.
She was a gracious host. Okay.
Mhm.
All I'm saying is it's a pretty loving kind of word, isn't it?
Mhm.
It's a pretty happy, carefree, where you can humble yourself, where you have nothing to prove, where I did it because it felt good. That was the primary reason, because it felt good. How great it feels to decide all things through him whose equal love is given to all alike. Who's him? Who are they talking about here with the capital H?
Holy
Holy
Spirit.
Spirit.
All right,
Mhm.
this whole section is trying to make a pitch for why you should let go and let the Holy Spirit do it. We went on in 17, we talked about that. Um, do you think that you can do things that are purely good, Son of Man?
No.
No.
You're limited and you're
Mhm.
conflicted. Given all the cons, you should surrender now as your own teacher. How did you ever think that you could carry out a task called decision making? You're innately inept to do it. However, I saved you. A harsh and strident voice arose as the ego's voice. It was not a loss in perfection, but it was a loss in communication. Hearing it, God did not did not destroy it, for to destroy it would be to attack it. God did not question, he merely gave the answer. The answer is the voice in your head, the other one, the quiet one, the one that can only be heard if you remove the obstacles to hearing it. It has no reason to shout. It is not aware, well, it is aware of your frantic, nervous, worrying, fears. It's aware of it. It simply doesn't believe it. And therein is your salvation. Because if we had let you kids do what you wanted to do, apart from being impossible, you would be lost forever. Good thing you got two voices, or you'd be lost forever. So how can you ever say God doesn't care about me, or I was abandoned, or even think such an impossible thing? You can never be alone, as Ron was saying. Okay? You don't have to make decisions alone. You don't have to make them at all. But let's just start with level 2. You don't have to make them alone. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we'll start there since we're doing the kindergarten version of this for now. Other comments from you? That's pretty much all I had on 17. Okay, you enjoying this, or you
Yeah.
tired already? Yeah. Okay, D, we're up to 18.
You taught yourself the most unnatural habit of not communicating with your creator. Yet you remain in close communication with him and with everything that is within him, as it is within yourself. Unlearn isolation through his loving guidance and learn of all the happy communication that you have thrown away but could not lose.
Okay, and let's go to Laverne, please.
Whenever you are in doubt, what you should do, think of his presence in you and tell yourself this and only this. He leadeth me and knows the way which I know not. Yet he will never keep from me what he would have me learn. And so I trust him to communicate to me all that he knows for me. Then let him teach you quietly how to perceive your guiltlessness, which is already there.
Comments on 18 or 19?
He leadeth me and know the way which I know not, yet he will never keep me from what he would not have me learn. There was a part in here. Okay, whenever you are in doubt, what you should do, think of his presence in you. And I just wanted to share that little acronym. I think I've shared it with Joan, that we always say, remember to PP, practice the presence.
Yeah,
I
that's a
like
good
that.
way to have us humans remember and bring a smile to our face at the same time, right?
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
You'll notice just that very last sentence, how many times you'll see a sentence that kind of says, this whole thing is meaningless, but it means something to you, son of man. So I'm going to save you, even though there's nothing to save you from. It is a circular journey, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
From the light into the darkness, back to the light. But it is a seasoning process also. What's the difference between the first time you're in the light and when you come back to the light again after experiencing the darkness?
You appreciate it?
Which one, the darkness?
No.
The light.
You said after coming, yeah, the light.
Yes. You'll choose the light every time. You don't want to deal with that darkness nonsense ever again. Yeah. As a matter of fact, it'll be like in paragraph 19, the italics, sentence 3. Sentence 3. Yet he will never keep me from what he would have me learn. Do you see the world as a lesson?
Yeah, I do.
That's why we're here. To learn the lessons of love. That was back in chapter 6, that last section, the lessons of the Holy Spirit. The lessons of the Holy Spirit. I am loved no matter what this manifestation is. And in order to save myself, I simply have to be myself.
Mm-hmm.
When?
All the time.
Time.
Okay. That's the path. So do you see that's the nature of the Holy Spirit voice in your head? Is to be nice all the time. Now, when I say be nice, that doesn't mean the Holy Spirit's decisions will let people walk all over you. Love is not weak. It's the most powerful force there is. But it's not violent. It's not cruel. It's not mean. It's not separate and apart and treats. We were talking last week. They're not like us, creating others. That's not what love does. So the paradox is you can save yourself at any time simply by stopping this insane thinking, because insane thinking makes an insane world. Everything is mental. I was asking Sherilyn before we got started about the Kabbalion. Have you heard of it? Kybalion. It is associated with Hermes Trismegistus or something like that. He was an Egyptian. And it means great, great, great. That's the way he became known because of his amazing philosophies. And so the Kabbalion is an effort to put his philosophy into writing, and it entails 7 laws. Now, Hermes lived, I don't know, 6,000 years ago.
Long time.
So he was ahead of his time, but there's 7 universal laws that if you understand these laws, you'll start seeing them all around you. Guess what the first of the 7 is? Everything is mental. Sound familiar?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So we're going through an effort. It's really ultimately meaningless, but it seems so meaningful to us. To us, it's life or death. But he assures us the impossible did not, cannot, and never will happen, no matter what your ego says. Don't feel guilty. All sources of guilt must be illusory, right?
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you heard this on the evening news? Wouldn't that be some good news? And yet we know a lot of brothers and sisters that would poo-poo an idea like that, right?
Well, we're not to feel guilty, but I We're to see
Saul
it.
Newman, husband,
Sorry.
Saul, or
We're to see it as a mistake, are we not?
The ultimate goal is not to see it.
Not to see the mistake? Not to see what?
Here, let me give
What?
you a progression, okay? The first thing is to be bound by it, and then to
Wait,
deny it,
what's the it? What's the it?
the mistake,
Okay.
the guilt, let's say, as a more specific example.
Okay.
The first step is to be bound by it, and then to deny its cause, and then to accept its cause, and then to stop doing it.
Right. Okay.
Because you recognize its cause is mistaken. It's not true. But here in level 2 again, there is kind of progression. By the way, 12 steps. What's that first step is to come out of denial, recognize I've lost control, and that I need something greater than me to help me, because I can't do it anymore. I've been trying everything I know. You see those same principles at work.
Absolutely.
We weakened ourselves greatly through the idea of separation.
But we do have to see it as a mistake first in order to heal from it and to choose differently.
Why? Why must you see it as a mistake?
Well, we'll keep doing it.
But that's true. But the reason you keep doing it is because you refuse to see it as a mistake.
That's what I just said. We do need to see it as a mistake first.
Fully see it as a mistake, you'll stop doing it of your own free will.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So we're in agreement with that. Comments from the rest of you?
Agree.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's not that we just can say we're not guilty, though. That's kind of my point. There's got to be
just the starting point of the
okay. There's got to be that we're replacing guilt with it's a mistake, and mistakes can be corrected.
Yes.
Not
and
that.
So
okay, we could do anything we want. That there's no mistakes. I mean.
Yeah, but we can't force you until you first admit that it was a mistake and are willing to try a new direction. I can't get farther than that because of what? The hallmark of love is, the hallmark of love.
We don't force. It doesn't force.
That's what God is, love. So the gift was free will, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So I can't make you change.
Right.
You have to change of your own volition.
Right.
And that's the goal. That's what the lesson is about. It's like the prodigal son had to change his mind, right?
Yes.
And then a new direction became available. How many are following it?
Yeah.
God himself cannot make you do what you don't want to do. Why?
Cannot or will not?
Will not.
And
It's not even right. But I'm just trying to show you the gate won't open until you are ready to go through because of this gift called free will. and I can't go against it even for your good. You must decide of your
Saul
own
Newman.
volition. How are we doing?
Mhm.
All right. Let's see who's Kathleen. Why are you quiet? You all right?
Yeah, yeah. And I was just saying, you know, to just break it down in very general terms is if you keep doing the same thing and expect, you can't keep doing the same thing and expect different results. You have to come to the realization that there's something wrong, and if there's something wrong, you need to do a correction, and the correction isn't doing the same thing over and over because you're just going to be stuck.
So how many times would my ego try the same thing before it gives up?
It'll just keep on, it'll just keep on going, and it'll just keep trying to do it over and over, maybe slightly different to trick you, but
You can't reason with it.
no.
It will not change its mind.
Exactly.
It would rather be right than listen to reason.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Kathleen. Other comments? All right, some keep saying Joan. Joan, please. I'm sorry, Spirit wants us to hear from you.
Spirit wants us to hear from you. Okay. It's all about letting go and letting God.
So you see, there's certain through lines to this teaching that if you everything else it says, attach it to they're incredible axioms, truisms, but you can answer any question if you remember to connect back to those basic ideas that the world is an illusion, that it is designed as a teaching device, although we thought it was our idea, that it was the Creator's crucible. Y'all know what I mean? Crucible, lesson, right? Or what do you call it? A test that you go through, right?
Yeah.
But you say, why would love design a crucible as a rite of passage? No, it was built into, it's all a dream. It's like the Wizard of Oz. How we doing? Okay, it's to teach us what we need to accept of our own volition in order to go successfully forward. You can't move forward with this as long as you believe in love and fear. You can't successfully move forward with this dichotomy, one thing pulling you back, one thing saying the opposite. One says go this way, and one wants to think about it. No, should I? Blah, blah. These are blocks to graduation. So when you learn how to remove these blocks, and you don't even have to learn it, I put a voice in there to show you how to do it. But it can't work except by invitation. Why?
Because love doesn't force.
Do you see that through line that love is bound by? There's another principle in the Kabbalion called correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
As above, so below. Okay? You work the same way God does. Okay? You are the same as God, and how you can practice things is the same way. So what we're saying is, does God have two voices in his head?
Nope.
Not that God has a head, but still, for our analogy.
Or
So
a voice.
how can you have two voices in your head? When did the impossible happen?
Never.
It didn't.
But as long as you believe it does, it will be sustained by your belief in it. If you're suffering from beliefs like that, don't fight them, let them go, and something will take its place.
Yes. Being, that's the being part.
Yeah. Now, one more thing. The advantage of just being, if you didn't have to do anything but just be and do what you're told by an excellent parent who has only your best interest at heart, would that make your life easier, worry-free?
I don't fight it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
just depends on if you think you can trust it.
So to bring the unity part in there is, just the just be part. It said just go with the flow, Eric Butterworth. Go with the flow. Just
We're
let the
all saying the
universe.
same thing, of course.
Exactly. Just go with the flow. Let the universe do the universe, and you just
Yeah.
be. Just go with the flow, and everything is going to work out perfect. Don't fight, as you were saying, Dee.
Yes.
No resistance. Just go with the flow.
The Jamaican guy, where he says, "Don't worry, be happy."
Happy.
Isn't that the same as go with the flow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that the same as let go and let the
And
Creator?
God.
Yes.
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 It's not the same to an ego. It's the ego could use that, and I'm going with my flow.
No,
So I
but
think we need to be careful when we say that.
no, I
Well,
think you don't need to be careful. That's the problem. I am no longer paying attention whatsoever to my ego, except insofar as to show me how not to get shot, how to be careful in the car, okay, how to know day from night, various level 2 activities to negotiate level 2. But I'm not going to take the ego into consideration about anything important.
Right. I just think go with the flow. It could be a statement of the Holy Spirit and or of the ego. So which one?
I hear what you're saying. So if you go with the flow and you go with your intuition, which comes from the Spirit, the Holy Spirit, that's the flow you want to go with.
Well,
I
hold
know.
on.
Yeah.
Hold
I'm
on.
not. I know which one. I'm just
So
saying
you
the
got to
state.
know the difference between which one is speaking to you.
I'm
Because
not so
Exactly.
sure
yeah.
you do. I want to let me debate this and we'll see
Okay.
soon. Are you saying that if you go with the flow, every mistake your ego guides you into, the Holy Spirit won't guide you out of?
No, I'm not saying that.
Then why would you hesitate about which voice?
Because I've gone with the flow with my ego most of my life, and yes, it got me to where I am today, but it's not what the flow I want to go with anymore.
All I'm saying is you went with the flow. It was a rocky road. Yes?
I'd rather go with another flow now.
You were
Is what
going
I'm
with
saying.
that flow all the time. The Holy Spirit will be the great alchemist. All of your mistakes will be turned into progress. So every time the ego acts and you've accepted the Holy Spirit, the Holy Spirit will correct even what you thought were ego things and how come it was hard or whatever. And all I'm saying is, here you are, for all the good, the bad, and the ugly, here you are, and you wish it would be easier in going forward, right? Right?
I know it can be easier going forward.
Has it been easier lately?
Most definitely.
That's my point. How do you know it won't get easier as you continue?
It
Maybe
will.
coming out at the beginning was rough, but now that you're getting the hang of letting go and letting God, or don't worry, be happy, now that you're getting the hang of it, maybe it'll be easier going forward too. Maybe it won't be like it was at the beginning of it. How do
I'm
you
sure.
know?
Actually, I'm sure I do know, and I'm sure that is true.
So
I mean that it's
there's no
inevitable if you
need to
listen to.
even think about, well, what if I'm making a mistake?
Mhm.
If you follow the Holy Spirit, you can't make a mistake because every time you'll either get a reward or a lesson.
Yeah.
I
Both
agree.
of those have value. You can't lose.
Right.
What
So
I guess where I'm coming from with it is, and you would already know I study metapsychiatry, which is a lot like you're describing the Herman. I don't remember the right word for it.
Hermes.
Yeah, it's totally that. Um, One of them is you either learn from suffering or from wisdom, and usually, and first it's from suffering. And I declare to myself all the time now, I'm ready to learn from wisdom.
And
I
that'll
don't
be
need to learn from struggles anymore, from
That's
suffering.
my point. So we're back to which voice.
Correct.
One reason is that the Holy Spirit's voice is always loving.
Correct.
So one mark you can say, is it loving?
Mm-hmm.
If not, that's not the voice, and you can avoid the situation. However, if you think it's loving and you move ahead, your sign was that, is this what love would do? And you do it. Then even if it doesn't reach success on the first try, the Holy Spirit is still there fighting the battle.
Right.
It's
you don't have
like,
to. Right.
why would you bump around trying to get out of the dark room, trying to get away from fear, trying to find the door to
Mhm.
salvation.
Right.
You'll probably find it from a lot of bumping around and stuff
Mhm.
like that.
Right.
But it'd be so much easier if you knew someone that knew where the damn door is.
Yeah, you don't have to control or resist anything if you go with the flow, because
Okay.
you know that going with the flow of life, that you're going in your consciousness. If God is there, everything, whatever it is, it's going to
Well,
turn out all right. No
I
fear,
remember,
right?
I'm sorry, dear. Go
No,
ahead.
I was just saying no fear and no depression. I'm just going with the flow. I don't have to control it. I don't have to resist it. I'm just going to be. And because I know, spirit is with me through
It's taken,
everything.
I trust that
Mm-hmm.
Spirit is taken.
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
remember in the Bible where it says, and he will make your crooked path straight
Mm-hmm.
and remove the stones so you don't bruise your feet. Okay, you could get there on your own, but you'd be all bruised up and all the rocks and hard stuff. So, and trying to find the door, but there's one in you that knows how to make all your crooked paths smooth.
So
Wow.
part of what I'm hearing is, and I think that's one of the laws of like I said, I don't know how to pronounce it, that it's self-correcting, which is what the Holy Spirit does, or the higher self does.
Yes.
Oh
How
yeah.
easy
Yes.
is it to
Yes.
correct an illusion?
Yeah. I mean,
It's
it doesn't
nothing.
right.
So how hard could it be?
It's not.
But not for us, because we don't totally not believe it. Jesus says, if you said to that mountain, be thy removed, y'all know what I'm talking about? And the
Right.
mountain would move. Well,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I can do it, but what the heck has that got to do with my reality? I can't do it today, but maybe one day it'll be second nature. More comments here.
Yeah.
Well,
You
I'm
gotta,
starting to.
you got to PP. You got to stay in the presence. You got to.
And so PP staying in
The
what
presence.
something
Stay in the presence.
stay in the present, and the main reason is evidentiary trust is the motivation. What's the first characteristic of a teacher of God?
Trust.
Trust.
And we think about the crucifixion because it's Easter time, and you think about all of the things that Jesus went through on that journey, and he managed to stay in that flow, regardless of what was happening through on that pathway, on that journey.
Mhm.
And it's not blind trust, it's evidence-based trust. It's evidence that appeals to reason.
To spiritual reason.
Precisely.
Mhm.
And it is a thought system that makes complete sense in itself. It is totally whole and complete and logical and evidentiary. And there's historical evidence as well as just common sense evidence that something runs things. There's a power higher than me. It's real. And when you learn about its characteristics, omniscient, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipresent, it's just awesome, gargantuan. I'm going to go with it, but I can't go with it sometime, or I'm living in unreality.
Right.
If you're love, when are you not?
Never.
Any other answers? Then I'm going to let you ponder that for the rest of this week. ACIM Talks with Reverend Jim.
I am not love if I'm fear, so whatever.
You can't be love and fear.
No,
I mean, it's
no.
not rocket science. It's just nobody ever explained it that way to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling very grateful to be where I am for all the good, the bad, and the ugly. And my motivation increases. It doesn't decrease, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you for staying tonight and for staying over. Any final comments tonight?
This was great. Thank you. As
Yes,
always.
Yeah, I look
Thank you,
forward
Jim.
to it too. So we'll take the win. Have a good week.
Yeah.
I
Have a blessed
always
week,
win.
everybody.
Thank you, Ron. We always win, not because of what we do, but because of what we are. Y'all take care, all right? Love you.
All right.
you
You too, Jim.
Good night.
Namaste.
Night.